Hi, in this video I will reveal my top 3 openings which I recommend to all my ambitious students for their long-term growth and long-term potential. So let me introduce you to something which I often see in this online YouTube opening advice community, and it's something like learn this in 5 minutes and you'll be good. But I strongly disagree with a lot of this. Sometimes I see guys recommend some stuff like this, and then you just go back and then you bring all the pieces out, this kind of stuff. Okay, it's very easy, and it's very easy to get out of the first 10 moves like damage free. But on the other hand, I show you the big downside of such an approach. For example, if you play those positions all the times, you will basically not learn a lot about chess. You know your basic scheme of developing the pieces, but you always get the same pawn structure. Not very exciting. And also you're not really trying to create some problems. You're trying to maybe trick him through some tactics later, or you might win games because your opponents like just blunder something at your level. But it really does not help your understanding at all. You're just learning one setup, no pawn structures, no dynamics, no traits of pieces. So it is just not suited if you're aiming for long-term growth, improving your chess understanding. And that's what I really want to make clear. As a chess coach, you should not do this all the time. You can have it as a side weapon for one game, but that's about it. And I will show you the 3 real openings which help you grow your chess understanding. And the first one, it's my personal favorite. It's the Nimzo Indian defense. After d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4. This is one of the most fascinating and most complex openings in my opinion. And even if you're beginner or like amateur, you should try this out because it will allow you to understand concepts which you otherwise will never encounter. Why is this opening so rich in ideas? You can from here reach several different pawn structures. It can range from a doubled c-pawn and a very big center structure where black is playing against those 2 pawns and white is trying to fight for the initiative, to some very positional lines where you're just trying to be solid with white and black is fighting back in the center with some natural moves later. So you can experience so many different structures. There are also lines like queen to c2, castles e4, which is again a very dynamic play here after d5 and knight e4. So you have a wide range from pawn structure based ideas to dynamic based ideas to just some on principles based ideas like fighting for the center. So you have a wide range, you have complexity, and you learn a lot about exchanges, like when to trade on c3, when not to trade on c3. It will really make your chess grow in the long term much better than playing the Scandinavian with queen d5 and queen d8 back. The next one on my list, which I recommend to everybody, is playing the Sicilian against 1e4. This aims for some asymmetrical, some ambitious battle from the start. And if you are an ambitious and aspiring chess player, you need to go for that. You need to be ambitious, you need to go for double-edged fights, trying to prove that you understand those imbalances better than your opponent. The wrong approach, in my opinion, is to always go for the safety, for the symmetrical stuff. This will limit your understanding in quite a bad way. For example, often I see youngsters play exclusively those openings. That's good for a start because it's very natural and so on, but at the point where you need to go the next step, you need to get away from this stuff because here, at some point, everybody will understand what's going on and you will not be able to trick your opponent. So at some point, go to some asymmetrical stuff where you break the symmetry, try to fight for advantages on the other side of the board than your opponent, try to come up with new ideas, and that's where the Sicilian is very well suited. Also, you have such a wide range of options. You can choose your favorite Sicilian out of so many lines. And it's very beautiful. So you have a wide choice and you get familiar with more motives, and that's one of the key things you really need to understand why you're studying new openings, because you want to familiarize yourself with new ideas, new motives, new structures, and not always do the same. The last opening I really recommend trying out for the sake of playing complex, all minor pieces on the board, middle games, is the TheRuopus. The TheRuopus starts after e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop to b5, a6. And now I recommend you try to keep the maximum amount of pieces on the board and try to fight just in the main line. with those complex middle games, all the pieces on, you later have some strategic plans, fight for the center, fight for some files, reroute some pieces, and you will improve your strategy much better than if you were just playing very forcing openings with a lot of trades, a few traps on the way. You won't have this strategic battle, and you won't have the chance to improve in your strategic play in general. Let me give you one example for this. For example, I consider this line knight f3, knight c6, and d4 takes bishop c4, the so-called Scotch gambit. It's a line you can play, but in the long term, you won't have that many strategic, long-term, complex battles because it's just very forced in nature. And you try to trick your opponents with some tiny traps, but if they all know it, you get a very much simplified position, which will not help your chess understanding, your outplaying potential, and so on. For example, in the line knight f6, castles, knight e4. For my taste, it is way too forcing to really learn to understand some long-term maneuvering games. So here you win back the piece, but the center is all traded off. You have no pawn structure, so no kind of this structural complexity and so on. And when you just play this all your life, you will never improve in this one. So that's my third opening. Let me know what openings have you enjoyed the most in aspects of understanding chess better. Is there any favorite opening which has taught you this pawn structure or this concept of, for example, dynamic play or positional play? Let me know in the comments. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.